Today is April 11th, 2022. We're here for the Civil Service Commission meeting. The meeting is now called to order. It is 6:02. Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Ms. Candelaria, would you go ahead and please lead us, please? Would you please lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, establishment of quorum. Claudia Olmos,
Present.
Alex Miranda,
Here.
Carlos Ortiz, and Andres Chavez. We have a quorum. Item number 4, public comment. We have no speakers for public comment. Do we have a motion for consent agenda? Item number 5 and number 6.
Second.
Claudia Olmos,
I'm sorry.
we're approving the consent agenda.
For number 4 and 5.
Okay.
Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz,
Yes.
and Andres Chavez. Moving on to the regular agenda, item number 7, discussion and action and selection of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary for the Civil Service Commission.
For the past 2-3 years, I don't even remember. I've been the chair for the civil service. I've proudly served here. I mean, of course, it hasn't been just myself. It's been with other commissioners, with everybody's staff here and everything else. Due to COVID, a lot of this stuff had finished, and also the city has progressed a long way from what we used to be. I mean, 100 times fold. So I did request this on our February 14th meeting to see if you guys wanted to jump in here. By all means, if you guys want to take a crack at this, it's yours. I don't have a problem with it. If you let me know what you guys want to do. But I did want to do it because every first of the year we do need to select different, well, we don't, not different, but we just need to select the officers again. We have to put it up for motion for everybody that serves on the commission. So with that said, if anybody wants to come in, please nominate them, and then we'll see if they want to go ahead and step into that realm, and we'll go from there. So if anybody wants to come in as a chair,
I would like to be considered as chair. Put that out there. I also think with all the kind of changes that we've kind of had, maybe setting aside a meeting to kind of get a little bit more informed of what exactly the role here is as a civil service commission, for everybody, and maybe kind of go over the Robert's Rules of Order so everybody is kind of on the same page as to what we're doing out here and how it directly affects, employees in a very tangible and almost, immediate way.
We did provide you with a binder when you first were appointed for the civil service. Okay.
okay.
Sir, can you speak into the mic?
To the mic, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we can't hear you.
Is that better?
Okay.
And do we have a second?
Second.
You'll second.
Mhm.
And do we have a selection for a vice chairperson?
And you don't want to jump in now? No? I'll take the vice chair.
And for secretary?
Of course, Miss Olivia, you've been doing a great job for many, many years, and I hope you stay here. Not for many, many years, but I hope you stay here.
Since 08. Claudia Olmos? Alex Miranda?
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz?
Yes.
And Andres Chavez. Item number 8, Discussion and action to approve the amendment to the Employee Handbook, Section G, time off, G11, mental health leave.
Good evening, Civil Service Chair and Commissioners. This evening, I am presenting to discussion several agenda items for the revision of our employee handbook. Our first one is going to be the mental health leave. This is geared towards the police officers. This is per Texas government code that the city recognizes the emotional demands of its police officers in the effort to help preempt and resolve emotional difficulties and take measures necessary in the provisions of the mental health service to ensure their wellness and the safety of the city. We provide the following. The mental health policy is eligible for all police officers, which is defined under the purpose of the City of Socorro, under the TCO, which is Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. The mental health policy is for a traumatic event. In the traumatic event, it means in the event that a police officer has to respond to either an investigation of an event, causes the police officer to experience some unusually strong emotional reactions or feelings, which in the results of adverse effect of their ability to perform their job and thus causing mental health issues. The traumatic events may include but not limited to the following: major disasters in an incident involving multiple casualties, in which may include weather events, explosion, searches, recovery missions, shootings, traffic accidents with multiple casualties. In the line of duty or suicide in the department member, death of a child resulting from a violence or a negligent, or an officer involved in a shooting that unfortunately recently occurred here in the city. The policy has been geared towards allowing a mental health to give the officers up to 3 days working time off. In the event that the police officer is needing additional time, they can be granted an additional 2 days up to 5 days, as long as with the approval of the chief of police. If for whatever reason the mental health time needs to exceed longer than 5 days, then with the approval of the chief of police and with the city manager, then that can also be extended depending on what the conditions are. The police officer will be compensated 100% of the officer's regular straight time pay, and it will also be considered as no hours worked. So this would be time off with pay at no hours that would be reduced from their vacation and or sick leave policy. Should the mental health leave need to extend longer than the time allotted, then it would run in concurrent with the Family Medical Leave Act. At this point, if there is no additional questions, that is how our policy will read.
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On Section B, the amount of duration of mental health leave,
Yes, sir.
just the first sentence alone, police officer may receive paid leave for up to 3 working shifts per occurrence. So occurrence meaning anything of traumatic that may occur, okay, for whatever strange reason. I know we still have a small department and everything else, that one officer has that stroke of bad luck that is a boom, 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 boom. How many occurrences will be allowed, and is it per, it says, is it per year, or is it just through their duration?
It's per occurrences, sir. So in the event that, let's say there are 4 traumatic events within the calendar year, and this particular officer needs to take them, then it's going to be allowed. So it's per traumatic issue.
Okay, so if that individual has 2 every month, just, I mean, like I said, those stroke of bad luck, which it happens.
Unfortunately, yes.
Then it's not gonna be questioned.
It will not be
Okay.
counted against them. So it's per traumatic event.
Okay.
So in the event there's 5 or 6 of them in a calendar year, then it's going to be approved.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If after a traumatic event and the officer returns after, being medically released, if they're not handling their capabilities as well, and they need, some more time to process, would that still need to go through would that now fall under needing approval from the city manager, or how would that be?
It would depend, depending on the situation, and if it is deemed necessary that his attending physician needs to put him back on a medical leave, then of course we need to look at that. So they would have to follow their chain of command through the chief of police or their designee, and then of course with the city manager. So every recourse will be taken to assist our police officers to get them back to the mental health state of mind for them to return back to their job.
And I guess my follow-up is, would that still fall under this mental health leave, or would they now need to dip into their sick leave?
It depends on what the circumstances are. So it would have to be open for discussion in that regards.
And who's the ones that make those determinations? If it would be under family leave or sick leave and stuff like that, would it be between the police chief, or the city manager, or who would make that determination?
Well, first, we'd have to get a declaration from the physician that it does warrant in terms of the mental health leave. If they are eligible under the Family Medical Leave Act, then we would also exercise the Family Medical Leave Act program that's available to the officers. And then, of course, the discussion with their medical attendee, their physician, as well as with the city of police and the city manager. So it would be a collective discussion.
And maybe this is into the weeds. Is this mental health doctor one that the city will provide, or is it somebody that is under contract, or is it someone that they themselves go out and pursue?
All of the above. So we do have a therapist that we do send our police officers to attend, and if that individual is available, then we'll refer them over to our mental health psychologist, and or the individual can request their own. So we would work in collaboration with them to help them find that assistance they need. We do have an EAP program that the employee can also reach out to that will provide them various options for them to choose from. So we always want to make the employee feel comfortable. If they have somebody of choice that they would prefer, then by all means we will encourage them to utilize that.
And that goes the same as coming back to work, being medically cleared?
Yes, they do have to be medically released to return back to their position prior to them being allowed to return back to work. So they have to have a release from their physician.
And one other point on that, the chief can require a fitness for duty examination by the department's healthcare provider. Even if they do have a full duty work release from their healthcare provider, the chief still has the authority to go ahead and require that, go to the department's physician to make sure that they really are fit to return to duty.
And that goes into a question I have on Section D for request for mental health leave. When a supervisor or a superior is kind of deeming that they may need, this leave, I know, men's mental health especially can be tough, if an officer doesn't feel that they should take, they maybe don't feel, that they can still be at work, right? So what is that, what are the steps first? If an officer is it they follow the same steps, they go up to the chief and do those, and if an officer say is unwilling, or not cooperating, I guess, or doesn't feel they need to leave, does it stop there? Is it by choice completely, or can the supervisor?
I believe that's what they were saying, is that the chief has that authority to say, you know what, due to your profile or high risk of your duties, I feel that you are unfit, so he has that last word to say, whether if you want to go, you're the officer, you're wanting to go under my recommendation, that's fine, and if not, then it's going to be more of a disciplinary thing, because, not disciplinary, but it's, you have to go because of your duty. And that's part of their handbook of the police.
Right,
Yeah.
well, I understand the fit for duty test, right? Like, I understand that. I'm talking about the leave itself, where we go, hey, as part of this policy,
There are certain circumstances by which, based just because they are a police officer, they are required and mandated, depending on what the traumatic situation is, they may be mandated to seek mental health just to clear them to be fit for duty. Especially of late when we had that recent shooting, they were required to get mental health clearance to be able to return to work. So yes, the chief of police will require that mandate. If deemed necessary that an extension or longer period of time, then yes, the chief will mandate that to happen.
And if the request is coming from a supervising officer, it's the same steps, or is it something that also we need to go to the city manager? Or is it just the same process, we're just kind of, it's not coming from the officer, now it's not the second step?
Yes, sir. We do believe that police officers sometimes don't want to reach out for help, but sometimes it may take others to be able to see the need may be there. So yeah, highly recommended will be requested.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Motion to approve.
Second.
Approve.
Approve.
Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz,
Yes.
and Andres Chavez.
Aye.
Albert Ortiz is absent. Moving on to item number 9, discussion and action to approve the amendment to the Employee Handbook, Section F, Compensation, F10, Longevity Policy.
Good evening, Civil Service Chair and Commissioners. Once again, I'm here to present a new policy to our Employee Handbook under Section F, which is our compensation program, and this is for the longevity pay. This longevity pay is for our police officer, and this is based on the Texas Local Code, Section 141.032. And it basically states that each peace officer employed by the city of Socorro in the police department is entitled to receive an additional amount of pay up to $4 per month for every month for their tenure of service up to a maximum of 25 years.
Is that longevity pay rate in line with other municipalities and other?
That's a monthly, the $4 is a monthly longevity pay, and it will continue on as long as they're an employee of the city. Cannot exceed longer than 25 years.
I know, but the rate of pay, is that by statute or?
That is the statute, sir. Yes, sir. It's the Texas Government Code, Section 141.032.
Move to approve.
No. Second.
Claudia Olmos,
Agreed.
Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz,
Yes.
Andres Chavez,
Aye.
and Albert Ortiz is absent. Moving on to item number 10. Discussion and action to approve the amendment to the Employee Handbook, Section F, Compensation, F11, On-Call Pay Policy.
Again, good evening, Civil Service Chair and Commissioners. This policy has been asked to be enacted to amend, not to amend, but to create an on-call policy for all staff members within the city of Socorro that is required to be on call. This establishes that designates an employee who needs to be on call as additional compensation, and it's followed. Each employee that is required to be on call, 1 hour pay for each workday, which is a 24-hour period, at an employee's currently hour rate. If the employee is required to be on call for the weekend, the employee is to receive 2 hours of pay for each weekend day designated by the supervisors. That would include holidays as well. So this basically means that an employee can receive up to a total of 9 hours in a given week, 5 hours, which is 1 hour each day of the week, Monday through Friday, which is 1 hour, and then 2 hours on the weekend, which is Saturday and Sunday, for them to be designated to be on call for the event that we have emergency situations arise, like our monsoon time, or if there happens to be a shooting and police officers need to come in and on call. This is geared towards all employees that are hourly paid employees. Non-exempt employees are not going to be covered under this policy. Should an employee be called into work, then the employee will be compensated whatever hours that they are required to come back into work. And if they exceed more than 40 hours in a given work week, then it is paid at time and a half. I'm here for any discussions on this policy.
No, nothing. No. Move to approve.
Do we- Claudia Olmos, Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz,
Yes.
Andres Chavez, and Albert Ortiz is absent. Item number 11, discussion and action to approve other amendments to the employee handbook.
I have no other amendments at this time, but there will be additional amendments that will be forthcoming, so I hope to present those in the near future.
Pre-warning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do we have a motion to delete this item?
A motion,
Claudia Olmos, Alex Miranda,
yes.
Carlos Ortiz, Andres Chavez, and Albert Ortiz is absent.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Claudia Olmos, Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz, Andres Chavez, and Albert Ortiz is absent. And we adjourn at 6:23.
See, I told you.
Goodbye.